Okay, I need to confess something. I am Spanish. I have watched every World Cup my entire life. I have screamed at my TV. I have thrown pillows at the screen. I have hugged complete strangers in the street. And I have cried after a penalty shootout. Yes, cried, but nothing, absolutely nothing, gets people more fired up than controversy. So today we are counting down the 5 most controversial moments in World Cup history. Moments that started arguments still going on today. Moments that made referees fear for their lives. Moments that literally changed the rules of football forever. Let us go. Number 5. The Ghost Goal. England versus Germany. 2010, South Africa. Now look, I am Spanish. I have no reason to feel sorry for England. None whatsoever. But even I watched this and thought, that was outrageous. England are losing 2-1. Frank Lampard hits a shot. It smashes off the crossbar. It bounces down. Clearly, obviously, embarrassingly, at least a foot behind the line. Everyone in the stadium can see it. Everyone watching on TV can see it. The England players can see it. The German players can see it. The hot dog vendor at the back of the stand can see it. The only 2 people on earth who cannot see it? The referee and the linesman, whose entire job is to see exactly that. The goal is not given. Germany score 2 more. England lose 4-1 and go home. And the best part? This is 2010, not 1950. Not before cameras existed. HD cameras existed. Slow motion replays existed. Every journalist in the stadium had a screen showing the replay. And yet, nothing. This single moment is the reason goal line technology now exists in football. They had to literally invent new technology because of how badly 2 men did their jobs on one afternoon in South Africa. Frank Lampard did not get his goal, but he changed football forever. You are welcome, Frank. Number 4. The most shameless thing ever done on a football pitch. Ghana versus Uruguay. Quarterfinals, 2010. South Africa was absolutely unhinged that year. Ghana are 90 seconds away from history. The first African team ever to reach a World Cup semifinal. The entire continent is watching. 60,000 people in the stadium. Hundreds of millions watching at home. The ball is in the air. It is going in. 100% going in. And then Luis Suárez, who an outfield player, saves it. Both hands. Deliberately. He looks at the referee, gets a straight red card, and walks off the pitch. Laughing because he knew exactly what he had done. He calculated in real time that giving away a penalty and a red card was worth more than letting that ball go in. Ghana get the penalty. Asamoah Gyan steps up. The entire continent of Africa is watching. The weight of history on his shoulders. The moment of a lifetime. And he hits the crossbar. The sound of that crossbar. I remember it. Uruguay go through on penalties. Suárez runs back onto the pitch, celebrating like he scored the winner himself. Ghana are on their knees on the grass. To this day, Ghanaians call it the greatest injustice in World Cup history. Uruguayans call Suárez a national hero. Was it genius? Was it disgraceful? Honestly, it was both. At exactly the same time, the most brilliant and most horrible thing I have ever seen on a football pitch. Number 3, Zidane's Headbutt. France versus Italy. World Cup Final, 2006, Berlin. I was a kid when this happened. I was sitting on the sofa with my dad, watching the World Cup Final. The greatest player in the world. The last match of his career. Extra time of the World Cup Final. And Zinedine Zidane, the calmest, most elegant footballer who ever lived, turns around and headbutts a man in the chest. In the World Cup Final, in front of the referee, in extra time. In his last ever professional match. My dad and I stared at the TV in complete silence. About 15 seconds. Then my dad said something I cannot repeat here. Red card. Zidane walks off the pitch, passes the World Cup trophy, does not look at it. France lose on penalties. Italy win. And that image, Zidane walking past the trophy in his last ever game, became one of the most iconic photographs in the history of sport. We later found out Materazzi had insulted his sister, which, look, is not great. But you are in the World Cup final, in extra time, 90 seconds from potentially winning it, and you headbutt a man. in front of the referee. I love Zidane. I think he is one of the greatest players who ever lived, and I still cannot explain what he was thinking. Nobody can. That is exactly why we are still talking about it, nearly 20 years later. Because some moments in football are bigger than logic, bigger than tactics, bigger than winning or losing. They become part of the story of the sport itself. And this was one of them. Number 2, the Hand of God. Argentina versus England. Quarterfinals, 1986. Mexico. This is the most famous controversial moment in football history. No discussion, no debate. This is it. Diego Maradona punches the ball into the net with his left hand. The referee does not see it. The goal stands. Argentina lead 1-0, and then, 4 minutes later, the same man picks up the ball in his own half, runs past 5 England players and the goalkeeper, and scores what FIFA voted the greatest goal in World Cup history. Same game. 4 minutes apart, he cheated, and then produced the most brilliant individual goal anyone has ever scored. After the match, a journalist asked him about the first goal, and Maradona, completely seriously, says it was scored a little with the head of Maradona, and a little with the hand of God. The hand of God. He punched a ball into a net and told the world it was divine intervention. England were furious for decades. Argentina won the World Cup, and Maradona became either the greatest villain or the greatest legend in football history, depending entirely on which country you are from. Think about what that means for a second. One moment, one handball, and 30 years later, people are still arguing about whether it was genius or cheating. That is the power of the World Cup. No other sport creates moments like this. No other tournament produces controversies that last generations. Number 1. The most controversial moment in World Cup history. And this one is personal. Spain versus South Korea. Quarterfinals, 2002. We were good, really good. We genuinely believed this was our year, and then things started happening that I still cannot explain. Spain had 2 goals disallowed. 2. In the same game. Both looked perfectly legal. Spain went out on penalties. The referee was banned from international football shortly after, amid corruption allegations. My dad cannot talk about 2002. He just shakes his head and leaves the room. But then 2022 happened. Morocco beat Spain on penalties. And I was devastated, genuinely gutted. But the moment the final penalty went in, my phone exploded. My WhatsApp groups went insane. Friends I had not heard from in months, sending voice notes, videos, just screaming into their phones. And outside my window, people were in the streets, horns honking, flags everywhere. My Moroccan friends from school were sending me celebration videos at 2 in the morning. My Spanish friends were texting me conspiracy theories, and I was sitting there, heartbroken about Spain, looking out at people celebrating in the street, and I thought, this is exactly why football is the greatest sport on earth. No other sport does this. No other event turns your entire neighborhood into a stadium. Morocco beat Portugal. They reached the semifinals, the first African team ever to do it. And every single match, the noise outside was unreal. I was devastated about Spain, and I was also absolutely loving every second of it. That is what the World Cup does to you. It breaks your heart. And then it shows you something so beautiful that you forget you were ever sad. That is the World Cup. Ghost goals and handball miracles. Headbutts in finals. Referees who may or may not have been paid to be blind. And your Moroccan friends sending you celebration videos at 2 in the morning after eliminating your country. 2026 is right around the corner. 48 teams, 104 matches, the biggest World Cup in history. And I genuinely cannot wait to see what the next controversy will be. Because there will be one. There always is. The only question is, which moment will we still be arguing about 40 years from now? I will be watching, and if Spain win, I will also be in the street.